On Friday, we looked at Paul Gauguin's self-portrait, this picture here that you are looking at now. Continue to look at that. I'm going to talk a little bit about him and then tell you what your task is and why we are doing this. First off, Paul Gauguin was an artist, French artist, who was born in 1848. He died in 1903. He was in a period in the art world that was called post-impressionist, and he did some amazing things. He also was a man that was very passionate about his art. He actually ended up abandoning his family in pursuit of his art. Some people have an issue with that, but that is what the man did in pursuit of his art. His paintings hang in the most prestigious museums in the world. If you ever get an opportunity to go to any museum, I highly recommend you take it up. There is nothing like the experience of standing before a piece and marveling at the artistry of the person that created it. The vividness of the colors, the detail, the intricacy of the brush strokes, all of it is right there, and you cannot get that by looking at a picture or a video or somebody telling you about it. You must experience these firsthand to truly capture and understand the magnificent artistry that human beings can do. Enough of that. Bear with me while I read to you some information about Paul Gauguin. For many, the myth of Paul Gauguin, the self-taught artist who abandoned his family to focus full-time on painting in distant places, can overwhelm his actual life story and contributions to art. Apart from his personal story, Gauguin's innovations, his bold style that expressed emotion through strong color, and his exotic subject matter had a profound effect on the art of the 20th century. French artist Paul Gauguin attempted through his art and his writing to answer the question, how can I express my many different sides? He not only drew and painted self-portraits, but he also sculpted images of himself in wood, bronze, and ceramic. Altogether, he made more than 40 self-portraits. Throughout his life, he also wrote letters that give clues to his personality and beliefs. Something that we all do. How do I figure out who I am and how do I express that? Just part of what you're going to do in just a minute. I'll tell you about that. Originally, this painting was painted on a wooden door of an inn in northwestern France. This self-portrait is both startling and thought-provoking. Gauguin's friends called it an unkind character sketch, a caricature, like a political cartoonist. Gauguin suggested what he looks like, showing only his head and one hand. He fills in the rest of the panel with symbols that appeared to deal in opposites, good and evil, heaven and hell. He places expanses of flat, intense color, red and yellow, next to each other. He frames his floating head with stylized, arching green stems and square flowers. Is this the Garden of Eden? Or is Gauguin telling us he is part angel, part devil? Perhaps he's showing himself as a sort of magician, an artist with tremendous creative power who can conjure identities through his artistry. What do you see, and what do you think he is doing? When we look at a piece of art, be it a painting in this case, or a piece of literature, we really need to dig below and see and think about critically what is going on. And symbolism is a technique that authors use. If they're good authors, they use it well, and it adds insight to our understanding of what it means to be a human being. So that's another reason why we're looking at this, is to look at the literary technique of symbolism and how that will support whatever your theme is that you're portraying. The other part of what we're doing is looking at that relationship you have with yourself. Who are you? What are you about? You are a magnificent, complex person, and what are you made of? What is it all about? So that's what we will be doing. Here is another portrait that Paul Gauguin created. He painted this more conventionally. It was about the same time that he did the other one that's more symbolic. It focuses on the artist's head and shoulders, all connected together the way they should be. Gauguin wears a comfortable sweater and jacket and seems relaxed as he looks out at us, without the evil eye seen in the other painting. He places himself in a room with a pleasant view of soft mountains through the window, unlike the flat, confusing space of the first self-portrait. While these two self-portraits differ in many ways, they both show the unusual way Gauguin used color to express emotion and capture the inner self. So what colors would you choose for your inner self? If you want to learn more about Paul Gauguin, you can check out this website, and right in this place right here, there is a video link. I don't know why it didn't show up when I clicked it, but it didn't. But here's the web address to get there, and it's a great video. It's lengthy, though. It's about an hour, and it does both Gauguin and Vincent van Gogh. So it's got both of them going. So it's kind of interesting, the whole look at artists. These happen to be artists who are using the medium of paint or sculpture, ceramic, or whatever they're happening to use to represent or to express what they have to say and share with society. So, if you like. So, using my famous saying, so what? Why are we doing all this? Well, part is the symbolism, like I said before, and the other is about the relationship you have with yourself. Who are you? So what are you to do? I want you to think about the characteristics and quality that make you you. How can you visually represent that? Show us. Is it possible for you to create a self-portrait without even including your face or your body? And what other ways can you represent who you are? Use magazines, whatever, pictures, cut out pictures that represent or symbolize your personality, your talents, your tastes, your moods. Oh boy. We all have those, don't we? For example, if you like photography, you might use a camera. Or if you are musically talented, which I know lots of you are because you're in the band, which is awesome. Yay, Mr. Sprague. You might use an instrument. Or if you sing with Miss Scrafford, awesome. Maybe lyrics or musical notes. Or what do you think? If you like to help others, you might include pictures or cutouts of other people or a hand, like you give a helping hand. You use your imagination. I want you to think very carefully about the colors you choose and how those colors represent who you are. I want you to think about patterns as well. And why would you pick that pattern? Are you more a flowy, curvy, or are you jagged, more straight-lined? How would you represent yourself? What could you be? What would it be if you were to do yourself? You can use places, foods, clothes. Clothes are definitely something that really represent our personalities, who we are, or other objects to show who you are without really showing you, meaning physically you, a picture of you. You should think about less obvious ways to symbolize your traits. Like if you are wise, then you might have a picture of an owl. Okay? So you are going to create a self-portrait, however you like. I will give you the paper. You can pick the color, or if you pick white, you can color the background any color you want that represents you. Whatever you want to do that represents who you are. And I am looking to see that I would like you to be done with this by Thursday. And then we can put them up in the room and we'll do a gallery walk, which means we walk around and look at them, and then you'll add a little note we'll get into how we're going to do all that later. But I want you to do gallery walk. So your job is to create a self-portrait using symbols to represent who you are. I can't wait to see your self-portraits on Thursday.